Yo, Bears fans, I'm Dustin Davis, and we've got a ton to talk about today. The Chicago Bears front office faced a critical crossroads after last season's collapse. 68 surrendered sacks had exposed their offensive line as more than just a weakness. It became the single factor undermining every other investment on the roster. Ryan Poles responded with calculated aggression, committing significant resources to veteran guards instead of gambling on developmental prospects. The strategy represented a philosophical shift: prioritize immediate stabilization over incremental improvement. By targeting proven interior linemen, Poles signaled his belief that protection, run creation, and practice culture needed experienced anchors, not unproven upside. The approach carried risk, both in capital spent and expectations created. After 6 games, early returns suggest those calculated bets may be paying off. The numbers tell one story, but the broader impact on scheme, confidence, and roster construction reveals whether this aggressive rebuild was prudent or premature. Let's check out all the latest news from Chicago. Before we continue, may I ask for your support? If you like what we're sharing, just take a second to hit that like button. It really helps us. Thank you. Last season's 68 sacks allowed forced Chicago's front office to confront an unavoidable truth. Protecting the quarterback had become an organizational crisis rather than a positional concern. Ryan Poles responded by executing 2 separate acquisitions that would completely redefine how the Bears controlled the line of scrimmage. The general manager secured guards Joe Thuney from Kansas City and Jonah Jackson from Los Angeles, parting with only middle to late round selections in the process. Through the first 6 weeks of the current campaign, both acquisitions have already validated the investment. The immediate production from these veterans has influenced coaching philosophy and offensive game planning across multiple position groups, providing Chicago with expanded schematic flexibility they simply didn't possess a year ago. Kansas City surrendered Joe Thuney for nothing more than a 2026 fourth-round selection, a transaction that already appears dramatically tilted in Chicago's favor. Through 6 appearances, Thuney has participated in 364 offensive snaps without allowing a single sack or drawing a single penalty flag. The consistency is exceptional. He has permitted just 1 quarterback hit and 3 total pressures, all occurring during Week 1, and has since established himself as Chicago's most reliable pass protector. According to ESPN's tracking metrics, Thuney currently holds the 4th best pass block win rate among all guards at 97%, sitting behind only Creed Humphrey at 99%, Brady Christensen at 99%, and Connor McGovern at 98%. Beyond statistical production, Thuney's presence has reshaped the unit's standards and cohesion. His approach to technique, communication, and preparation has raised the baseline performance for every lineman around him. His 2-year extension worth $35 million, with $33.5 million guaranteed, accomplished multiple objectives. It locked in an elite interior blocker with potential Hall of Fame credentials, while simultaneously reducing his 2025 cap hit by approximately $38 million. That financial restructuring gave Chicago additional flexibility to address other roster needs without sacrificing future assets. The freed cap space enabled Poles to pursue complementary additions without compromising long-term planning. For a third-day draft pick, Chicago effectively acquired one of the league's premier interior linemen performing at an all-pro level. The transaction carries franchise-altering implications. While Thuney commands attention, Jonah Jackson has been equally essential in strengthening Chicago's protection scheme. Acquired from Los Angeles for a 2025 6th-rounder originally from Pittsburgh, Jackson has silenced doubters after a difficult campaign with the Rams. He's handled every offensive snap at a position he has minimal experience playing, shifting from primarily left guard in Detroit to right guard in Chicago. Over 367 snaps across 6 games, he's allowed 1 sack, 0 quarterback hits, and 10 hurries, with 5 of those pressures occurring in Week 1 as he adjusted to new teammates. His combination of power and leverage has brought stability to the interior, helping Chicago create consistency in both pass sets and run concepts. After acquiring him, Chicago secured Jackson with a 3-year deal worth $54.5 million, including $29.75 million guaranteed and a $10.5 million signing bonus. The expenditure has already delivered measurable results. Teammates have noted his understated leadership and daily preparation have been critical to the unit's rapid development. Jackson's ability to anchor in pass protection while generating displacement in the running game has propelled Chicago to 8th in pass block win rate at 66% and 5th in run block win rate at 74% league-wide, a substantial improvement over last season's group, which consistently struggled in both areas. For 2 late-round selections and $89.5 million committed to 2 players, Chicago added 2 exceptional guards who have transformed one of the league's weakest units into a top-tier group. If this production level continues, Thuney and Jackson may become franchise cornerstones, and those offseason investments could define the turning point in Chicago's offensive evolution. Beyond the trenches, another position group has caught the front office's attention as the deadline draws closer. Chicago has assembled 4 consecutive victories and currently sits 2 games above 500 with 2 full weeks remaining before the NFL's trade deadline. The Bears 4-2 are preparing for a 2-game road stretch that takes them first to Baltimore, then to Cincinnati. That away schedule once appeared daunting. In the current context, it looks considerably more favorable. Chicago could potentially sit at 6-2 just 48 hours before the November 4 trade deadline. That possibility raises a fundamental question. Should the Bears add reinforcements, move assets, or maintain their current roster construction? CBS Sports analyst Cody Benjamin recently identified Chicago as a logical destination for Bengals pass rusher and current sack leader Trey Hendrickson. Riding high off the spark of Joe Flacco's emergency arrival, Cincinnati will probably be motivated to hold, not sell, as it awaits Joe Burrow's late-year return, Benjamin wrote. Still, Hendrickson has struggled to get a firm long-term commitment from Bengals brass for years, and he'd look pretty good bringing his pure pass-rushing skills to, say, a team already positioned to make some late-year noise. Hendrickson is playing out the final year of his contract, which pays him $29 million annually. He will spend most of the 2026 season at age 31 and will be negotiating free agency terms for a long-term extension next offseason if Cincinnati opts to trade him. SpotTrack projects his market value at approximately $140 million over 4 years, roughly $35 million per season. Cincinnati is unlikely to surrender Hendrickson for less than a second-round selection, and they may need to drop their next 2 contests against the New York Jets and then Chicago before seriously considering such a transaction. Chicago will eventually need to address the edge position, though committing that level of cap space and draft capital to a player over 30 carries considerable risk alongside the potential reward. That said, Hendrickson recorded 17.5 sacks in 2024 and finished second in Defensive Player of the Year voting. Through 6 games this season, he has tallied 8 quarterback hits, 4 sacks, 3 tackles for loss, 1 forced fumble, and 1 pass breakup. Pursuing a veteran like Hendrickson would require Chicago to balance immediate pass rush and reinforcement against long-term financial flexibility. Should the Bears prioritize short-term playoff help with a proven contributor or preserve draft assets and cap resources to build sustainably? The decision carries weight. A fresh report suggests Chicago may be eyeing a more cost-effective option to bolster their pass rush before time runs out. With the roster trending positively, any deadline move must align short-term gains with long-term roster planning. One candidate has surfaced in trade speculation: Atlanta edge rusher Arnold Ebiketie. Media outlets have connected him to potential trades since the offseason, and as the deadline approaches, Chicago appears among the teams viewed as a logical match. ESPN's Jeremy Fowler reported that Ebiketie continues attracting interest and that Atlanta, while not proactively shopping him, would entertain offers. That posture creates an opening for Chicago to add pass rush depth. Ebiketie, standing 6'2" and approximately 250 pounds, has produced effectively in a rotational capacity. He recorded 6 sacks in 2023 and 2024, despite limited snap counts. Falcons analyst Will McFadden highlighted Ebiketie's late 2024 surge. 5 of his 6 sacks came following Atlanta's bye week, and quoted the player acknowledging he left some on the table, suggesting greater potential with expanded usage. Evaluators praise his initial birth and hand techniques that convert quickness into consistent pressure. Playing time in Atlanta has been restricted. The Falcons invested early draft capital in Jalen Walker and James Pierce Jr. this offseason. Both rookies are projected as starters, which has reduced snaps for the former 2022 second-round selection this year. For Chicago, that situation could represent value for immediate depth. The addition would provide a reliable third-down assistance. Polls must evaluate scheme fit, acquisition cost, and contract control. The Bears still require pass rush and reinforcements, and with approximately $8.6 million in available cap space per over the cap, they may avoid pursuing premium names and instead target cost-controlled additions. Ebiketie's attributes align with what Ben Johnson and defensive coordinator Dennis Allen prioritize: a low center of gravity, burst off the line, and the ability to translate speed into production. His film demonstrates an explosive motor suited for rotation packages. Though he has not registered a sack this season, his previous output indicates he could flourish in a scheme that emphasizes four-man fronts and frequent rotations to exploit favorable matchups. He's playing out an expiring rookie contract, so Chicago could acquire him for a late-round pick and minimal cap impact. If he performs effectively, Poles could negotiate an extension similar to previous midseason acquisitions, but at a reduced cost next offseason. Ultimately, trading for Arnold Ebiketie would represent a low-risk, high-reward opportunity for a Bears team attempting to climb the standings in 2025. If Chicago intends to push for playoff positioning, adding a rotational high-motor edge rusher could provide the incremental upgrade that converts close contests into victories. Is Arnold Ebiketie the low-risk, high-reward opportunity the Bears need at the deadline? Would you rather see Chicago land a cost-controlled rotational rusher like Ebiketie, or should they swing for a bigger name like Hendrickson? Leave your thoughts in the comments. Give us a thumbs up and subscribe. Join the community for exclusive daily content. We're here to keep you updated with everything going on in Chicago. See you next time.